Push through it. Kevin Stefanski challenges Shedeur Sanders to rise amid injury setback and Browns QB battle. In Berea, Ohio, the Cleveland Browns quarterback battle has officially entered its gritty, make-or-break phase, and it's become about more than just completions and yardage. It's about grit, resilience, mentality, and that's exactly what head coach Kevin Stefanski is asking of his rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, as the former Colorado star confronts his first true NFL adversity. Arm soreness and a stalled momentum just when things were heating up. For a week and a half, Sanders had been grinding through camp. Quietly, consistently. He wasn't getting first-team reps, but he was putting in the work, staying late, leading backup units during walkthroughs, and even commanding attention during his mic'd-up session in Day 7, which captured a glimpse of a young quarterback fighting to belong. But on Day 9, just days after Kenny Pickett went down with a hamstring injury that momentarily reshuffled the quarterback rotation in Sanders' favor, the rookie from Boulder was sidelined himself. The news hit like a gut punch, not because the injury was severe, but because of its timing. Sanders had just begun climbing, and now he was forced to sit. The QB room thins out on Day 9. Saturday, August 2nd, marked the first training camp session without Shedeur Sanders under center. His absence was hard to ignore, especially as Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel rotated through a whopping 51 competitive reps in 11 team periods. Flacco took 26 of those, Gabriel 25. Sanders took none. It was the first missed team session in Sanders' otherwise consistent camp showing, and the team was quick to confirm it wasn't disciplinary or strategic. A spokesperson cited a little soreness in Sanders' throwing arm, enough to warrant precaution, but not enough to raise alarms. Still, for a rookie quarterback trying to fight his way from fourth string to relevance in one of the NFL's most tightly contested quarterback rooms, the optics mattered. While Flacco and Gabriel were gaining rhythm and chemistry with the offensive unit, Sanders spent the day on the outskirts. Helmet on, eyes forward, but no huddle, no snaps. Coach Kevin Stefanski, a man known for his measured, no-nonsense approach, didn't sugarcoat the reality facing his rookie. You don't find out about yourself, you don't find out about a football team when things are easy. He was heard saying through Sanders' mic in an earlier practice. You don't. It's when things are f***ing hard. When you're going through something. Every single day, I am finding out about what this team is willing to do. What you're willing to push through. Push through it. Those words now carry more weight than ever. The rise before the pause. Before the soreness crept in, Shedeur Sanders had been quietly climbing. Throughout minicamp and the first 8 days of training camp, Sanders was among the most consistent presences on the field. He wasn't commanding headlines with jaw-dropping throws or viral highlight reels, but his work ethic was undeniable. Coaches noted his film study habits. Teammates praised his communication. And on the day he was mic'd up, the rookie showcased a calm, confident voice in the huddle, calling plays and guiding second-team reps like a young pro. Then came Kenny Pickett's injury. With the former Steelers starter sidelined due to a hamstring issue, the Browns were suddenly down to 3 healthy quarterbacks. Joe Flacco stepped into the spotlight. Rookie Dillon Gabriel saw an uptick in reps. But the door also cracked open for Sanders, a chance to rise above his number 4 standing and perhaps earn a shot at rotating with the second unit. For a brief moment, it seemed like the Browns were beginning to see what Coach Prime had seen all along. And then the soreness hit. Stefanski's development philosophy: reps must be earned. Throughout the offseason, Coach Stefanski has remained firm in his stance. Reps aren't given, they're earned. That policy applied equally to Sanders, Gabriel, Flacco, and even Pickett. While some fans questioned why Sanders wasn't getting first-team opportunities after Pickett's injury, Stefanski stuck to his principles. Rookies, no matter how popular, must earn their elevation. You don't build a quarterback in July, Stefanski said during an earlier press conference. It's a daily process. We want to see consistency. We want to see command. It doesn't matter where you were drafted. We're building a team here. This approach is both a blessing and a burden for Sanders. On one hand, he knows that any reps he receives are meaningful. They've been earned through performance. On the other, Any missed day gives others a chance to climb past him. And in a room as crowded and competitive as Cleveland's, that could be costly. What the numbers say about the day he missed. On day 9, the Browns ran roughly 51 total team reps during padded 11 on 11 periods. With Pickett and Sanders both sidelined, Flacco and Gabriel split the action down the middle. Joe Flacco 26 reps, Dylan Gabriel 25 reps, Shedeur Sanders 0. Meanwhile, Sanders remained active in early individual drills, tossing lightly on the sideline and going through motion mechanics under the watchful eye of QB coach Alex Van Pelt. But once team drills started, he stayed back. The optics? Not ideal. The timing? Brutal. The implications? Still evolving. Next steps. Preseason looms large. Cleveland's training camp schedule is about to ramp up. On August 6th, the team travels to Charlotte for joint practices with the Carolina Panthers. 2 days later, the Browns play their first preseason game at Bank of America Stadium. The following week, the Browns will host joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles before their second preseason game on August 16th. These joint sessions and exhibition games are crucial evaluation windows, especially for rookies trying to prove they belong. They offer the kind of live-rep simulation that practices simply can't duplicate. For Sanders, they're a golden opportunity to rewrite the narrative and showcase the traits that made him a college football sensation. But to do that, he has to be healthy and available. Kenny Pickett's take: when you're not out there, you're losing ground. Kenny Pickett knows the weight of missed reps. After suffering his own soft tissue injury during red zone drills, the fourth-year quarterback sat out multiple sessions, yielding ground to Flacco and Gabriel. Speaking to reporters after Saturday's session, Pickett put it bluntly: "It's next man up, and when you're not out there in a competition, I think you're losing ground. That's just how it goes." He included Sanders in that statement too, noting, "Me and Shedeur have to get back out there." Pickett's candid reflection echoes the pressure both quarterbacks now face. The clock is ticking, the game film is rolling, and roster cuts are just weeks away. Behind the curtain, is Sanders' injury a blessing in disguise? There's another side to this story. Injuries, while frustrating, can also serve as learning opportunities. They force players to slow down, observe, and reset. Sanders, for the first time in camp, is now seeing the offense from a coach's view, studying reads, anticipating coverages, and soaking in offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey's play-calling rhythm. Coach Stefanski emphasized that the team is being smart with the rookie's recovery. "There's no reason to push him too fast," an insider revealed. "We like what we've seen, but we also know what's coming. We need him fresh." In other words, the Browns aren't abandoning Sanders' development, they're protecting it. Conclusion: push through it or let it pass. Coach Stefanski's words, captured during that mic'd up Day 7 session, still echo across Browns camp. You don't find out about yourself when things are easy. It's when you're going through something. That something has arrived for Shedeur Sanders, not in the form of a crushing injury or benching, but in a quiet, nagging discomfort that's enough to sideline him and make him question his pace. He's not alone in that battle. Kenny Pickett is right there with him, trying to regain momentum. Dylan Gabriel is capitalizing on reps. Joe Flacco is anchoring the room with veteran steadiness. And in the midst of it all, Stefanski is watching. He's not looking for the flashiest arm or the loudest leader. He's looking for the guy who will push through, who will take the missed day and turn it into motivation, who will fight, heal, study, and return better than before. For Sanders, that moment is now. The NFL is full of these stories, of setbacks that became springboards, of rookies who refuse to be forgotten. Shedeur Sanders has the talent. He has the name. What remains to be seen is whether he has the timing, the durability, and the hunger to make it count. And if Kevin Stefanski has anything to say about it, he'll need all three to earn his place on this Browns team. Dylan Gabriel fumbles opportunity as Kevin Stefanski sounds alarm over sloppy Browns camp. On paper, Day 8 of the Cleveland Browns' 2025 training camp was supposed to be a day of progress. Quarterback Kenny Pickett returned, albeit in a limited role. Joe Flacco looked as poised and polished as ever, and the energy around camp hinted at optimism. But that anticipation soon gave way to a familiar emotion for Browns fans: frustration. At the heart of it all, rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel, whose shaky performance once again raised serious questions about Cleveland's crowded quarterback room, and head coach Kevin Stefanski's ability to find clarity amid chaos. As the Browns continue navigating what's arguably the most high-pressure quarterback competition in recent team history, their head coach is no longer keeping his concerns behind closed doors. In a candid interview, Stefanski publicly criticized the quality of practice, labeling it sloppy, and citing failures in execution across all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. But the bulk of the spotlight and scrutiny landed on one player: Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel's disastrous day. Numbers don't lie. If you were watching Friday's session with no context, you might assume Dillon Gabriel was buried on the depth chart. But in reality, he was getting premium reps, second only to Joe Flacco in volume, and failed to capitalize in a major way. Gabriel, the rookie from Oregon, completed just 3 of 14 passes during team drills. No touchdowns, 1 interception, a 21% completion rate, and more importantly, 0 confidence generated in his ability to handle the speed, complexity, and pressure of an NFL offense. It wasn't just a bad day, it was a wasted opportunity. Gabriel has been one of the most heavily repped quarterbacks throughout the offseason, receiving more reps than fellow rookie Shedeur Sanders in OTAs, minicamp, and the early stretch of training camp. If the Browns were grooming someone to eventually take over as QB1 post-Flacco and Pickett, all signs pointed toward Gabriel. But Friday's outing was a step backward, a big one. Flacco's rise, Gabriel's fall. As Gabriel struggled, veteran Joe Flacco delivered arguably his sharpest practice yet. Going 9 of 13 with 2 touchdowns and no picks, the former Super Bowl MVP reminded everyone why he's still in the conversation. Flacco's consistency, decision-making, and leadership on the field starkly contrasted Gabriel's indecisiveness and erratic throws. Flacco didn't just outperform the rookie. He looked like a player fully in command of the offense, while Gabriel seemed like he was still searching for the rhythm he once had in college. And then there was Shedeur Sanders, quietly efficient as usual. Shedeur Sanders, the silent standout. While all eyes were on Gabriel's flop and Flacco's finesse, Shedeur Sanders continued doing what he's done since arriving in Cleveland: staying ready. The former Colorado star and 5th-round pick completed 7 of 10 passes during backup reps, notching 1 touchdown and, most importantly, no interceptions. His poise in the pocket, combined with his quick decision-making and accuracy, stood out in stark contrast to Gabriel's struggles. Even though Sanders is currently 4th on the Browns' QB depth chart, his Day 8 performance did not go unnoticed. According to insiders, he even closed out the session taking a few first-team reps, another small but meaningful step in his development arc. Still, for reasons only the coaching staff fully understands, Gabriel continues to get the lion's share of first-team development reps. But if that gap continues to produce more inefficiency, Stefanski may be forced to reevaluate soon. Kevin Stefanski hits the boiling point. By the time Friday's session wrapped up, it was clear that the quarterback inconsistencies were part of a broader issue: poor execution across the board. And for a coach already entering the 2025 season under intense scrutiny, Kevin Stefanski was visibly, and vocally, done hiding his frustration. Speaking to 92.3 The Fan after practice, Stefanski didn't mince words. "Yeah, sloppy. Not thrilled," he said when asked to assess the day's performance. "Listen, we're chasing. You're not going to get to perfection, but we have to be way better in a bunch of different areas today: offense, defense, special teams. The good news is it's August 1st, but there's a lot of urgency that we have to have, and we have to be better today." I wasn't thrilled. The word sloppy echoed across the airwaves and sent a clear message to the entire roster. Training camp isn't just about learning, it's about executing. The pressure is mounting. Brown's QB room still a puzzle. Stefanski's frustration stems from more than just bad practices. It's about bad timing. The Browns are coming off a 3-14 season. Their quarterback situation has been in turmoil since Deshaun Watson's failed tenure left the franchise in limbo. Now, in a division that includes MVPs like Lamar Jackson, young stars like Joe Burrow, and even veteran rebirths like Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, the Browns are still trying to figure out who their starter will be. They entered the offseason with a plan. Assemble a deep QB room, Joe Flacco for veteran insurance, Kenny Pickett as a former starter with upside, and 2 rookies, Gabriel and Sanders, to develop. But what was meant to be a strength is starting to look like chaos. For quarterbacks, splitting reps has made practices inconsistent. Timing between QBs and receivers has been off. Play calling has had to be watered down just to accommodate everyone's learning curves. And Stefanski is now publicly acknowledging that the setup may be hurting more than it's helping. The irony, Browns built depth, but now it's costing them. On the surface, carrying 4 quarterbacks into camp made sense. Stefanski wanted stability. He didn't want to bank on one quarterback only to be blindsided by injury or regression. But what the Browns didn't anticipate was that the sheer volume of competition might hinder rather than help. Every quarterback needs rhythm. Every offensive unit needs consistency. And right now, the rotating carousel of passers is breaking up that rhythm. Players are struggling to sync, and it's affecting performance on both sides of the ball. This isn't just about Dillon Gabriel having a bad day. It's about the Browns as a team failing to find their identity, and Stefanski knows the clock is ticking. Gabriel's missed window. Was this his moment? Make no mistake, Day 8 was supposed to be Dillon Gabriel's day to shine. With Kenny Pickett still limited to individual drills and Shedeur Sanders continuing to work mostly with backups, Gabriel had the inside track to show he belonged in the mix for starter reps. Instead, he delivered a dud. His footwork was erratic. His reads were slow. His downfield passes lacked touch. And worst of all, his confidence seemed to waver with every incompletion. For a quarterback that's been handed opportunity after opportunity since rookie camp began, it was a major red flag. Day 9 update. Any signs of improvement? On Day 9, Gabriel once again led the second-team offense in red zone drills. And while he started slow, throwing 2 straight incompletions, he did bounce back with a short 1-yard touchdown to salvage the drive. But it still wasn't enough to shift the narrative. His performance was serviceable, not standout. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco continued leading the first-team offense against the second-team defense with his usual composure. And Shedeur Sanders? He didn't participate in full team drills due to reported arm soreness but remained present on the field, going through early individual work. It's unclear if Sanders will return to full duty by the Browns' preseason opener on August 8th against the Panthers, but if he does, there's growing sentiment that he might actually be the rookie QB with the higher ceiling and the better floor. What's next for the Browns' QB room? The Browns are days away from a critical evaluation period. On August 6th, they head to Charlotte for joint practices with the Panthers. 2 days later, they'll face off in their first preseason game. The following week brings joint sessions with the Eagles ahead of a second preseason matchup. In short, the clock is ticking. Kevin Stefanski hasn't committed to a timeline for naming a starter or finalizing the depth chart. But at this rate, decisions may be made for him, based not on potential but performance. If Flacco remains the most consistent, he may start by default. If Pickett gets healthy in time and regains his early camp rhythm, he may slide back into the role he was once promised. And if Sanders continues to show composure and upside, the Browns may have to reconsider where their investment really lies. As for Dillon Gabriel, the window is still open, but it's closing fast. Conclusion: Stefanski's urgency is the Browns' new reality. When Kevin Stefanski called Friday's practice sloppy, it wasn't just a critique of one day. It was a message to his team, his quarterbacks, and perhaps even the front office. The Browns are no longer rebuilding. They're reloading. And if they don't find consistency soon, the 2025 season could be another wasted year in a division that's only getting tougher. Dillon Gabriel had a chance to step forward. Instead, he stumbled. Whether that becomes a footnote or a turning point depends entirely on how he responds in the coming weeks. But the bigger takeaway is this: Stefanski has seen enough potential. Now he wants results. And the Browns? They need them fast.